Hello. Just posting a video to wish everybody a happy new year. And it's funny because I looked at a video I made last New Year's Eve, and I think that was a video I did where I called out a bunch of trolls on my channel. And it's pretty funny because I haven't really seen any trolls since then. So maybe my videos are just getting less views or whatever. But part of me feels like an idiot because I said I was optimistic about 2020. Regarding the job I had back then, I was starting to get back into my career and work on some interesting stuff. It's just my boss at the time was a narc, and as you saw in a video not that long after that, I was kind of fired in a kind of an underhanded way. And it's not something where it was actually for a contracting group that worked for a company. So it's not like I could even go to HR and complain. It's something like I'm just like stuck and I just have to cut my losses and move on. So that happened, and I did mention that at the time I didn't think he was a narc, but I had like suspicions, and I was having like anxiety issues and was trying to figure out where they were coming from, and now obviously I know why. 'Cause not too long after that, I made a video of all the things he was doing, and then people were like, oh yeah, he's definitely a narc. Don't doubt yourself, you gave more than enough examples of his behavior, stuff like that. So I ended up being fired from that job in January last year. And then 2 months after that, the pandemic hit. So, since then, I've just been sort of doing the at-home mom thing. And, I haven't really looked for any other job. I just feel like it hasn't really been the time for me to go back to work, so I didn't. Although, in 2021, I might try to get something at least, maybe remote or part-time or something. And yeah, so I was mostly obviously unemployed in 2020, but I think honestly a lot of people were with this global pandemic that we have going on, and the economy being what it is. And so for 2021, I guess what I hope happens, I do want to make some progress in my career this year. And I would like to give Tommy a sibling sometime soon, so maybe get pregnant again sometime this year. And, so that's, I guess, what's going on with me now. And it's kind of funny after looking back at the New Year's Eve 2019 video, like, yeah, I'm optimistic about 2020. Yeah, no. But I have watched online some videos from like psychics and astrologers. I don't take that stuff too seriously, but sometimes I watch it just out of curiosity. And it does look like 2021 will be a better year and things will start to turn around. It's just that the winter is still sort of going to suck. It's going to be a bit like a continuation of 2020, but things around April and May are going to start to turn around, get a little bit better. Which I guess makes sense, because that's when the vaccine's coming out, and winter always kind of sucks, I think. January, February, kind of just depressing time of the year. And, cases are peaking and stuff like that. So, hopefully 2021 will be a better year. And another thing I kind of wanted to discuss was I am just so sick of this narcissism doesn't really exist bullshit. And how there seems to be a lot of trying to put blame back on the victim. Or they try to say that, well, everybody's a narcissist, it's a basic human trait. But then what they try to say is narcissism is like basic self-esteem, or even just basic hygiene. You know what I mean? Like, they'll say, oh, like, well, you you color your hair, or you wash your hair, or you wear deodorant, that's a sign of narcissism. I've seriously heard examples like this where it's not just like keeping up with your appearance, like makeup or going on a diet or whatever, but like basic things like showering and brushing your teeth are narcissistic traits. Like these are things that actual therapists have said. And it just makes me think, like, wow, what bullshit. You know, like that's just basic self-esteem and basic hygiene. And I get it. A lot of toxic narcissists are very concerned with their appearance, but being concerned with your appearance in and of itself does not make a person a narcissist. And people don't seem to get that. And a lot of times people that are worried about their looks, it's because they've been narcissistically abused, not because they're narcs. Like, there's a whole other... I think a lot of times, too, what the way the word narcissism is used in mainstream culture is not really what it is, and it misleads a lot of people. Like, it's not really portrayed as the toxic just personality that it is. It's more like... they make it sound like the person's just a little self-centered or superficial, and that's not what it is at all. I mean, yeah, a person with narcissism can have those traits, but they water it down to a point that, like, true abuse is laughed off and minimized, and that's what pisses me off. And I saw a video recently, and I'm not going to say whose it was. It's another popular YouTuber on the subject of narcissism. Basically, not outright denying narcissism, but talking about the quote, the victim, or the person who claims to be the victim, to look at their own self. And in a lot of cases, he did clarify sometimes when it was your childhood, it's really not your fault, because you really could have done nothing about it. But something was said in that video, too, about everybody being a narcissist. It's a basic human trait, using the example of, like, the original definition of narcissism, which was a guy looking in a river and, like, at his reflection, and he fell in the river. That was the original definition. But it's... that doesn't mean, though, that by our current definition today, that's all narcissism is just caring about your looks. Like, there's a lot more to it. And by claiming that that's all it is, you're watering down what's truly damaging and bullying and abusive. You know what I'm saying? Like, they try to minimize it with trivial traits, like it doesn't even matter and it doesn't exist. And then the same person kind of used the example of, you know, I think he mentioned the word accountability in the video, which I know this might sound like maybe I'm the problem, but I hate that word, accountability, because every time I've heard it used, it was used to scapegoat somebody. It's been used a lot at jobs I've had, which are very toxic. And it's not really the same as responsibility. Responsibility is like, you show up, you do what you need to do, and then, you know, when everything's fine, you do your job right. Like, you could be fine responsibility-wise and still be accused of not being accountable because of some reason that the narc boss makes up. You know what I mean? Like, that's just kind of how I've seen it used in work settings, and it's a way to kind of scapegoat and blame shift. And there was an example used in this video, and he was like, oh, I know you're probably going to tell me I'm victim blaming and gaslighting. So an example was used in this video about getting kicked in the shin, which is like a kind of maybe it wasn't the best example, but so if someone gets kicked in the shin and you blame the person for getting kicked in the shin, then you're victim blaming. But if you tell them, well, no, you could have done something, you could have moved, well, that's not victim blaming. That's suggesting what they could have done differently, or like giving them insight to their own deficiencies or whatever. I'm sitting there, I'm like, No, that's victim blaming. That is still victim blaming. That's sick. That's like telling a rape victim that it's their fault for dressing a certain way, or like, oh, well, you shouldn't have been in that neighborhood, or you, like, that's still, like, is it me, or is that not, is that basically the same thing? Like, saying, oh, it's your fault you got kicked, and then, but saying, oh, well, you should have moved, that's not the same thing as saying it's your fault? Like, am I missing something? So, that's kind of like, I found this video kind of triggering, because, and he said in the video, I'm sure there are people that are going to watch this and hear one thing they don't like and trash the whole video. It's like, no, I heard multiple things where I was like, whoa, that's fucked up. You know, like that, the example of getting kicked, that's just like, no, no. And, you know, well, everyone's a narcissist, it's the basic human condition. That is gaslighting, or, I feel like it's similar to saying that, it's similar to an alcoholic trying to say that everybody's an alcoholic, and being like, well, you drank last Christmas, so you're no better. You know what I mean? It's the same. Or someone saying, well, everybody's obese, because nobody has 0% body fat, so everybody's obese. It's the same logic. Same logic. So yeah, I'm just sick of that mentality, and maybe if I'm seen as a perpetual victim or somebody who doesn't want to be accountable, then that's fine. But most of the abuse I've experienced, I was either a child or blamed for things I didn't do, or even if I made mistakes, stuff was blown up, taken out of context. Like, you know, I refuse to admit things were my fault or I refuse to say certain things were my fault that weren't. Sorry. Anyway, that's, I guess, the end of my rant for today, and I hope everybody has a better 2021 than 2020, and I'll see you on the next video.